We have a saying around here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no brains, no headache.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to No Brains, No Headache Podcast, episode 276. We're back for yet another recording of this mindlessly entertaining show. I'm going to be your host today. I'm Jordan Weichel. Happy to be here. Damn glad to do so. Next to me on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, our preferred platform, is my co-host, confidant, longtime friend, fellow comedian. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a very funny, very talented. It's the one, the only. I call him Ongo. It's Matt Cleary. Ongo, how are we doing today?
Good. Just a casual ice storm up in North Dakota. And turns out when it rains 2 inches overnight and then freezes, the whole town shuts down.
That is why I left that town. Exactly why. Very bad weather. And then that's all you guys talk about is weather.
Yeah,
I don't even have to check the forecast. I just check Facebook because I still follow all the meteorologists from the area. And then everybody's going to post about it on their story. I posted a nice little picture of me on my walk today. It was a nice little body of water with the sun out, the mountain in the distance, and I got some responses of people who were jealous. And I said, hey, it's here, it's waiting for you. You can come and get it if you want, but that's up to you.
Yeah, but we are into sad boy season, and sometimes I like to do this. It's kind of planned, but not really. So on Friday night, I'll just get annihilated. And then on Saturday, I'll wake up and I'll go to the bar at like lunchtime. I'll have lunch, a couple drinks, and then I'll go home knowing full well that I'm going to be down for the count for until the next day. And then I did that this weekend. It's sad boy hibernation, as I like to call it. It's my favorite thing. I just sit there like Cameron and Ferris Bueller's Day Off in bed, just singing to myself. And so I tried to do that this weekend. And then on Sunday, I was excited because the college football playoff announcement came and I went and watched that. And then after that, I was even more sad. So I just went right back to bed. So my hibernation turned into about 48 hours of me not doing anything, but less than 20 steps were taken.
Well, then how do you feel after that? Do you have like are you full of energy? Do you feel recharged, or are you almost worse than before?
Worse than before. Like I know it going into it that this is not going to be a good thing. I just I think like atrophy in my legs start happening. Not really sure if that's the right word for it, but yeah, my legs hurt after it. Like you ever drink so much that your knees hurt the next morning?
Yeah, no, that happens all the time. When I consume alcohol, for some reason, my leg muscles just don't take it very well. And I'm not even like having sex or doing any sort of physical activity. It's just my leg muscles hurt. I think they're all dried up. The alcohol just dries them up like the goddamn desert. But yeah, I can completely concur. I concur, as they say, on Sunday, and we will talk about sports at the end. People, don't you think that you're going to get away with one episode without us talking about our beloved sports teams and what's going on in the sports world? But on Sunday, I went and checked out the football game. The old Vikes were back, and we're going to talk about it later. I don't want to get into it right now, but yes, I had 5 beers and some lunch, and then I was at like a Packers bar, and they were playing the Bears, and it was just like I just wasn't matching their energy at all. So I went home, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna like hang out. Like I pretty much am in two places in my apartment. It's either in my bed behind me or on my couch. And I was just on the couch, just kind of like figuring out if I wanted to go do something. close my eyes and I wake up 3 hours later. It's dark out. I don't know where I am. I forgot my age, my name, my social security number. Everything was gone. So it's true. It is true. Sad boy season is definitely upon us as we are in December in the year of our Lord 2025. Matt, the shortest day of the year, we are recording on December 9th, 2025. The shortest day of the year is less than 2 weeks out. So something to, circle on the calendar. December 21st is that day for those of you scoring at home. So Matt, that's a Sunday too of all days. So you are going to be just having a great day. Now, I mean, I know there's not a whole lot of sunlight there in general, but that day especially, it is the shortest day of the year. So yes, Sad Boy season is totally in full swing. Matt, what's your New Year's resolution as we come up to the end of 2025 here?
More of a life hack than anything. So I started my New Year's resolution to not drink during the week on December 1st, and I already failed at it. And so now I don't even have to try it January. So if you start your New Year's resolution on December 1st, you'll be over it by the time the actual New Year comes, and you can just go back to the same old you.
There you go. Love it. Love the ambition, the motivation. It is just pungent in the air on No Brains, No Headache this week. So, for those of you scoring at home, if you just want to get rid of your New Year's resolution, go ahead and do it. I never really do a resolution. I think they're dumb, and we'll
Yeah.
probably talk about this again, come around the new year. But I think they're dumb. Like for me personally, I have like the double hack because not only is it a new year, but I also turn a new age the day prior. So like it's a double whammy for me. So for me personally, it's just a lot easier to like incorporate some different habits, if you will. I have a feeling the old 2026 year 32 on this earth is going to be a good one for me. I can feel it in my bones. I know it, and it is so true though because it's like when the holidays are here, it just kind of fucks everything up. Like I'm looking at the calendar right now. Um, Christmas Day is on a Thursday, meaning Christmas Eve is on a Wednesday. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day is also on a Wednesday, Thursday. That's smack dab in the middle of your week. So just trying to be productive can always be difficult. So I think that's really I don't call it a New Year's resolution. I call it the holidays are over resolution. And yeah, I could probably do fine without drinking. I really need to, cut out the In and Out burger. Okay. And it's really getting bad. And we're also going to talk about that here shortly. But Matt, we had the Monday night football game. The Philadelphia Eagles went to Los Angeles to play the Chargers, SoFi Stadium. And you texted me and said that you took an edible and then watched the cartoon version of Monday Night Football. I just wanted to kind of pick your brain. How was that? What were your thoughts and emotions?
That's the only NFL football I've watched this year. And
Which is
it was
weird.
kind of fun right away. But then like some plays they don't have Mike Wazowski, who I don't really like, but Sully they had on there. Some plays that didn't have him on, I was really confused at what was happening, and then I was like, I hate the NFL, so I was just gonna watch that 70 show.
Yeah, that is weird. Dude, they got to take breaks. I know they're cartoon characters, but they still get winded.
There was a play where like Jalen Hurts like threw an
Through an
interception,
interception.
the guy fumbled, then Jalen Hurts picked it up and fumbled again, and it straight up broke the cartoon version of it. They just had the ball sitting in the middle and like everyone's standing around because they like didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I imagine there's got to be like just a short delay in that, just so the cartoon can catch up with what's happening in real life. And they probably went through several scenarios and were like, okay, let's do a test run. And no, at no point during the test run did they have like a double, triple fumble play going on, and it apparently just broke the internet. So kudos to them. They didn't really see that one coming, but that is housekeeping for the portion of the episode. That's where we go through just a few things off the top of our head before we really get into the meat of it. But I'm excited for this episode. So without further ado, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. It's No Brains, No Headache, episode 276.
Okay. Let's party.
My rabbit hole this week, I've been going big in on wheelchair basketball.
Okay.
You might say, Matt, why'd you do that? I watched one reel on Facebook about so apparently the Alabama women's wheelchair basketball team is maybe one of the best dynasties we've seen in the 21st century. I think they've won like 6 championships in a row. But then I really went down into the logistics of wheelchair basketball because I was like, how do they find out who's the center? Are they out there just measuring torsos, or like, what do they do? Turns out it is very mean how they figure out what like the fair teams are going to be. They score players based on their disability. So if you're more disabled, you're a 1. And if you're less disabled, you're a 4.5 is like the most you can be. And then every team gets 14 to 15 points that can be on the court.
Okay. Now
So
the
it's
question
just,
is, where would you put yourself?
I'm a 1 for sure. Like, and then hindsight, like looking back, so there was like 1 or 2 years of my life where me and some friends and his grandpa would go to the World War Memorial Building and play wheelchair basketball on Wednesday. And it's so weird to me that we wouldn't just go play normal basketball because not one of us was in a wheelchair. We would go there, pull wheelchairs out of the closet, and then play wheelchair basketball against each other when we could just very easily play normal basketball against each other.
That just makes too much sense. You know, why would you do such a thing? You have your health, you have your mobility, and when you have those two things in the world, what do? You whip out, you dust off the wheelchairs at a very old gym in downtown Bismarck, North Dakota, named after a world war, and you play wheelchair basketball. That's what you do. And if that's not the American dream, I don't know what is. If that's wrong, I don't want to be right.
It's so funny to me, like thinking of like someone asked me if I want to do something on Wednesday, I'd be like, can't, gotta head down to the World War. I got wheelchair basketball with, and it was like we'd play 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 full court. So, it was the dumbest thing. And then like I think I was in the 3rd or 4th grade, so I like really wasn't that strong. So without jumping, I like had to be next to the basket to score. And I'm like, this had to be like the worst sporting event. Oh, never mind. So one person did have a disability. I think my friend's grandpa got his leg blown off in Vietnam. So he was the one guy that was actually pretty good in a wheelchair.
And he's still rated higher than all of you.
Yeah. See, like that's the ins and outs of the Wheelchair Federation of Basketball are pretty nuts. Arizona in Tucson, their men's team won last year's title. So you're close enough where you could go
close to a wheelchair basketball dynasty. That's good to know. I'll definitely hop in my vehicle and drive an hour and a half south to go check out some wheelchair basketball.
All I'm saying is
play a lot of basketball normally.
If you're ever in Tucson and you'd be like, wow, I got a free afternoon, I'm going to go see what these guys are up to. Maybe plans are just made for you at that point.
Well, now I know I don't have to really think too hard about what I'm going to do in the dirty T, the T-town.
And then I found out that the University of Wisconsin Whitewater is kind of a wheelchair dynasty in the Division III ranks between their men's and women's, mainly because I think they're the only Division III team with an actual team. So,
well, there you go. Some people bring like athletic tape and like tape up their ankles or something. Then when it gets to wheelchair basketball, you're just whipping out a can of WD-40 and greasing up your wheels so they're moving right. And what if there's just like a big scandal where somebody puts like a lift kit on their wheelchair, just like an inch, like barely even noticeable, but they're like, Tommy had a lift kit installed on his wheelchair, and he also tested positive for some beaver tranquilizers, so he can't play anymore.
Yeah, it's the wheelchair basketball game. I feel like there's got to be a lot of cheating going on, especially because like how do you call out a team if they have not enough, like they'll have their team so good and be like, "No, that guy can't play. You need to have more disabled people on your team. That kid's not enough disabled." So I think it's like I don't know if I would want to be the one that calls out, be like, yeah, that kid needs to be more disabled or your team's unfair. So it's like, okay, what if we played the NBA like that when you got like a combined, all right, your combined starting five can only be 32 feet tall.
Yeah, that would be wild. All that's really going through my head right now is that scene from Semi Pro where they score a basket and they're all just elaborately celebrating while the other team is just full on break down the court and just scores the layup. That's what I would imagine, my wheelchair team, or if we got one together, like if we actually put together like a really good play and scored, we would all like, you know, gather around the top of the key and do some sort of elaborate handshake that we spent hours creating while the other team is just on a breakaway down on the other side of the court.
I mean, a breakaway, depending on the level of skill you have in the wheelchair, the breakaway could last a while.
Or like what are the injury reports for wheelchair basketball? Just John's got some low tire pressure this
Yeah.
week. We're gonna try to find an air compressor. If we can't, he's gonna be questionable to return.
The wheelchair ramp was broken, so our entire team couldn't make it.
They are in the car hotboxing weed, and because they
Oh,
can't get out.
I guarantee the level of wheelchair basketball to smoking weed is like the same circle.
They go hand in hand. Okay, it's just like steroids in the MLB in the early 2000s. It's just you can't have one without the other, and it's
Yeah.
honestly probably a lot more exciting, I would imagine.
Oh, it's like the Paralympic sports, very fun to watch because they're so good at them. They either need to be very good or really bad. Like there's no in between. If you get average wheelchair basketball, it's similar to watching women's basketball.
I mean, I don't think we're too far away from having a wheelchair plagued human playing on an NBA team or WNBA team for that matter, the dub. I don't see how we're too far away from that, of just the modern day progressivism and inclusion in modern day sports. I think that's something that we're going to have to look into.
I just thought about this story. Do you remember Spain in the Special Olympics? They did the actual Ringer movie. They
Uh,
they had just normal people playing in the Special Olympics and just dominated basketball. And then it came out that like 18 of the 19 people on Spain's basketball team weren't actually disabled and they were just dominating everyone.
well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So I don't blame Spain that much for just trying to pull a quick one. Clearly didn't work too well. But kudos to that for giving it a whirl. In the old wheelchair basketball. Honestly, is that a topic that we've never talked about before? I think that's pretty new for no brains, no headache territory.
Yeah, I've been trying to get into new topics. A lot of I go through these things like old-timey baseball. Essentially, I spend hours a day just on Wikipedia clicking through pages and finding different fun things to do research on.
Well, here's a new topic for you. Me and Culver's got back together very briefly.
So you had it
Extremely,
one time.
yeah. I caved. I got some Culver's the other day, and it was fine. It was kind of just like a late night booty call situation where we were both just using each other for our physical attributes.
You
So
just had rough sex with a butterburger.
essentially, yes, that's exactly what happened. But let me ask you this: have you ever made frozen food and followed the directions that they gave you to a T on the packaging?
Nah, not really. I kind of
Because if
just
you
like,
do, your shit's gonna be fucking frozen still.
yeah. I mean, I bought a bunch of frozen pizzas from Costco. I don't know why I said a bunch, 3 pizzas. Um, and I made it's like 12 to 15 minutes at 425. And I'm like, okay, I just set a timer for 15 minutes. Um, I was like, if this was 12 minutes, I'd just be eating soup on top of the pizza.
Did that ever happen to you in college? Because I remember several times, you're out partying with friends or whatever, end of the night. Oh, let's have a frozen pizza. And whoever is always in charge of the pizza has like never made a frozen pizza, and they pull it out and they're like, "Pizza's ready," and the cheese is just barely melted on top of this soggy crust.
A couple stories. I've done it where I'm always using someone else's oven that I don't know how to use. So there was one time I put the pizza in and I put it for like 20 minutes and I go out and I come back. I didn't turn the oven on. I just set a timer on the thing for 20 minutes. And then the next time we weren't roommates at the time, but my former roommate Pat and he was living at this house and we go back from the bar and we were like, hey, let's play some video games. We're just annihilated at this point. And I'm like, I'll make us a frozen pizza. So I put it in and we both fall asleep. I wake up 6 hours later to the house just black smoke. Like, I don't know how we didn't die. Like, and I go and I pull the pizza out of the oven. And I think Pat was like still drunk in the morning. And I'm trying to like air out the house like the best I can. And he's like, can you cut into it? Is any of it any good anymore? And I was like, no, it is charcoal, right? It was literally just black as can be.
Yeah, so for those of you out there who try to learn a thing or two from No Brains No Headache, first of all, terrible resource to do such a thing. But if you're gonna make a frozen pizza, always strive for that golden top, that golden crust. Because right now I'm rocking the traditional oven. No matter what I make, I'm without an air fryer. I need to go buy one. I'm just not right now. So yeah, I'm using the oven a lot, and I had some chicken nugs the other day, and yeah, the instructions on the back, like if I were to follow those, I would just be eating pretty much just like thawed out chicken. Um,
Oh,
yeah, and that's what made me think of it because it was like 400 for 12 to 15 minutes. Dude, I did like 12 minutes per side. I would do like 12 minutes and then flip them and then do another 12 pretty much and then even just top it off with a little bit of broil for extra crispiness. Yeah, so the instructions on frozen food are just a complete lie if you follow them to a T. I just don't understand. Like, are you trying to sell a good product? And if so, don't you want your customers to make that product properly? The frozen food industry says, no, we don't want that. We want the food to suck ass. So
you,
there's that.
you know what food I think that doesn't get enough love? The
Bagel bites.
the chicken patty.
We used to have
The
those in grade school.
but throwing one in the oven or the air fryer, you fry up the chicken patty, you put it on a hamburger bun, you maybe throw some hot sauce or some barbecue sauce, piece of cheese. Man,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get back into my taco salad game. But instead, I get a head of lettuce, and then it's just a lettuce wrap, and it is delicious. I've been known to eat an entire pound of ground beef in one sitting, and then I don't get a whole lot done afterwards. So,
The other day I bought one of those salad kits that like you can make a Caesar salad, and I accidentally threw away the sauce packet,
ooh,
and so I didn't. And I was at work at this time, and I just ate normal lettuce with nothing on it.
and how did that make you feel?
Kind of like I was like in a zombie apocalypse. Like this was the only like I should not have eaten it. Like it was just terrible, not filling at all. But I
Yeah,
did it.
I just had one of those. It was the Asian kit, and
Oh, that's one of my
boy,
favorites.
it was really good. Have you ever tried Japanese barbecue sauce?
Yeah, I always have it in my fridge now. I put it on brats. Very underrated.
Yeah, I added a little Japanese barbecue sauce. I also did a little bit of beef and broccoli with rice, and man, the Japanese barbecue sauce, people, go out and get yourself a bottle because you don't even have to worry about any other sauce or marinade at that point. But better keep it moving on. Episode 276.
All right, this is not going to go. I put wedding gifts down, but I want when did we get away from like if you were going to marry someone, you would get them like get their family a giant pig or something.
Yeah, like you have to offer your
Yeah.
your fiance's father like the fattest pig you can find.
I'm much similar to the movie Holes is kind of what I've been going off of.
Yeah, no, I immediately thought of that scene in Holes where he's carrying the pig up the mountain and singing. Also, why did he have to go up the mountain? Is it for the onions? Is
I
that
think
why?
like the onions, but what I don't get is a huge plot hole of the movie Holes is why does he have to carry the woman up to the top of the mountain? Like,
She had a bum ankle.
yeah, just yeah, you're gonna get this really fat pig, but when you're done doing that and carrying this pig up for like 180 straight days, I want you to come give me a piggyback ride to the top of this thumb.
Maybe that's how the term piggyback came about. Yeah,
From the movie Holes.
I don't know about the movie Holes, but apparently you just gotta carry a fat pig up a mountain, and then you got to carry another fat pig and your future wife up the mountain.
Yeah, the chances of the movie Holes happening, like what are the odds that he Zero goes to the top? For some reason he's wearing clown shoes that he stole because he thought that'd be a good idea. And then he takes them and he throws them off a bridge and it hits Stanley Yelnats, who then gets framed for this crime. Like the chances that that happens are slim to none.
Yeah, if I'm just walking along minding my own business and a pair of fucking baseball cleats comes flying out of the air and clunks me in the head, my first thought isn't like, oh, cool, some free cleats. First of all, they're children, and these are the cleats of an adult. So I don't even think they can fit. And judging by Stanley Yelnat's family, where his dad is cooking up shoes in the fucking kitchen all day, I don't even think he can afford to go play baseball. So why does he baseball in these cleats? If I get clunked in the head with some cleats, I'm looking for a lawsuit, not pocketing the cleats.
Also, like a 11-year-old kid getting hit from like 50 feet up with some huge baseball cleats, there's a good chance he's dead.
Yeah, they did a poor representation of presenting the evidence because if you get hit in the head with cleats, you're gonna be like bleeding from the head or like have some sort of bump. It's like when the cops came in, all fucking Shia LaBeouf had to do would be like, "Here, feel my head. I got bopped in the head and it was fucking Zero." And then Zero ends up in the camp anyway. What kind of illegal shit was Zero doing?
He
Zero
did some.
reminds me of somebody we went to school with, and let's just say, take your hat off, man.
Yeah, there was. I mean, we went to school some winners, but
Which is shocking because we went to private education. You had to pay to go there, and we still just had complete morons in our class.
Yeah. So my college roommate who was in our class, he was on a ride along for the police department and he arrested another kid that we went to school with. Oh, talk about a small world.
Yeah, these people made Matt and I look good, which was
Yeah.
shocking because I mean Matt and I were morons too, but yeah, there's just so much we can say about that, and I'm just not going to. But speaking of breaking the law, can Waymos get pulled over?
I don't think so. They can't physically hit anyone either. Like people have been trying to just throw themselves in front of Waymos to get the lawsuit and like they stop every time.
Well, I saw that video of a Waymo driving through like a standoff situation. Did you see that one?
No.
There was a guy on there was multiple police vehicles and there was like a guy on the ground. I think he like had a gun. It was full situation and they're trying to like apprehend this gentleman and you just like the car behind the Waymo was recording or whatever and you just see this Waymo like slowly taking a left turn and just drives right through a crime scene.
That
That
makes
was
me think
making me
of
wonder. I was like, can these bastards get pulled over?
what if like on the other guys how they had when they just run their Prius into the crime scene. What if like there's like a dead body and a bunch of cocaine and a Waymo just drives over it?
Yeah, I don't know. I've only taken one Waymo, but
Who
I think if you
owns
timed it right, you could like rob a bank maybe and then hop in the Waymo and then I mean there's it's only a matter of time until that's taking over the headlines of like who's at fault here because this Waymo was just driving a criminal away from a crime scene.
See, I don't think Waymos will ever fully take over because there's things that drivers will do that Waymos will just never do. And there's also things Waymos will do like drive through a completely active crime scene. But do you remember when we were coming back or we were going to the airport in Vegas and we had our taxi driver
Oh yeah.
just budge in front of like 300 cars?
That was awesome.
Yeah, no Waymo's ever doing that. This guy
Yeah,
just did
no.
not care at all.
No. And yeah, it's interesting. I had just such an interesting like couple of Ubers recently, like on Black Friday. I had to go to work for a bit, and like you do, it was just going to be packed. And this, like, it's never good when you get into an Uber and they ask you where to go. It's like, dude, you see that navigation right in front of your noggin? Follow that. How about? Or the other day, I was waiting for one to pick me up. Finally, he shows up, and I'm just standing there, like perfectly. All I have to do is kind of turn around. I'm right there. Boom, I can hop in. We can get on with our day. And I'm just waving him down, and the dude just blows right by me. So I have to walk all the way over to him, and then, yeah, I get in. He's like, "Where are we going?" And I'm like, the destination that I typed into the app that you are in charge of. So figure it out, my guy.
I had a pretty crazy lift. So my roommate, I was getting up for our Saturday lunch. We usually just go to the same spot for lunch every Saturday. And I was like, hey, I texted him like, hey, do you want to go to lunch? I didn't have my car. It was left at another bar. And he goes, yeah, but I also don't have my car. So I'm like, I'll get a lift to go get my car. The guy picks me up and it's pretty icy here. And he was just driving like 35 miles per hour. We're going down Washington Street and he literally just runs every single red light from my house downtown. And he would just like be going like 35 miles per hour, try to stop and just like slide through it. And then he'd make this noise. He'd be like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I don't know how he didn't die. And then he gets a phone call and he answers it and he's trying to get his headphones out because it's playing over like the speakers. And he's trying to get his headphones out. but he like doesn't want to tell the guy on it that like I'm also listening. And the guy's like, all right, I need you to go to this hotel, go to this room. The person will have the money for you. And then the guy, like clearly a drug deal. And I was just like listening to it, and he's like, and finally gets his headphones on, and then he like starts screaming in another language. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. But yeah, the real question is, can Waymos get pulled over? And if not, how do we exploit that for the better good of society? That's all I had for Waymos.
Okay. There's this conspiracy theory that I'm very much on board with, that Helen Keller is fake. Now, I have very little knowledge or backing up to like give any sort of truth to this, but I just don't think there's any way she existed.
I've heard this too, and like, I don't know, what's the thought process there? Is Helen Keller kind of like Jesus, where we're just kind of like making it up?
Yeah, well, okay, like I've seen how she would write her name. She would use her fingers to space it out, because I watched something about some guy bidding on a Helen Keller autograph. She graduated from Harvard.
That's not true.
She did. She graduated from, I can't remember what it was called,
Matt, you
but
just said a moment ago Helen Keller's not real, and I'm agreeing with you. Now you're disagreeing with me, agreeing with you.
so I'm saying that Helen Keller was real, but not portrayed the way she was. I think they were just like, guys, this girl sucks, but we're gonna portray her as the greatest human being ever. So they're like, this teacher is good. She wrote 12 books.
Do you think, or sorry, are you saying maybe like the fishing story, like, oh, I caught a fish this big, and then like 10 stories later the fish is just like the biggest thing ever? Do you think Helen Keller was just like sort of colorblind in one eye, and then by the end of the folklore she was just deaf and blind?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it goes. I also think that they're like, hey, no one gives a shit if I wrote a book, but we'll sell a ton of copies if I put a blind and deaf person sold it.
I mean, famous people who are drug addicts do that all the time. Artie Lang, example one, every time he was low on some cash, he would just write another book about him just getting high on heroin and banging hookers in his heyday. And boy, was it entertaining. I
Yeah.
bought 2 of them.
Yeah. See, I mean, I just think that like people around, because she went to Radcliffe College, which essentially was the college for girls that existed at Harvard, but they wouldn't let girls into Harvard at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, 12 books, and like she would she can't hear, she can feel. I don't understand. There's just no way.
I don't even know what a book is.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, you feel this? That could be a book. It could be like a DVD player. And she's like, book. And you're like, no.
Oh, you feel this? It's just a cock. She's giving a hand job.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to have, never mind. I was Anchorman 2 when he's like, yeah, I aggressively rubbed my shin for a half hour when I was trying to masturbate, when he goes blind. Then he's like in the background. He has his leg up and he's like pointing to his shin. He's like, feel that. Does that feel like a rock hard cock to you?
This took a turn.
Yeah, so Helen Keller hand jobs. Yeah.
How long? 12 books. That takes years just to write a chapter, I imagine.
Yeah, or it's like
they weren't picture books.
She can't talk, so how is she like? Even if she'd be like, if you're blind and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna talk and someone will write down this book. Couldn't do that. So like, I don't know.
I've heard this conspiracy like a lot in the last couple of weeks, more than once. Is what I mean by a lot there. But yeah, maybe it's just like the classic folklore, where they just make her sound a lot more challenged, I guess would be a word to use, than she actually was, just to kind of like make it a feel good story. I mean, just kind of like wheelchair basketball, you know?
Would you judge me if I spent $1,000 on a Helen Keller autograph?
No, that would actually be pretty par for you. I did see the actually just earlier today that somebody was selling their contacts that saw Taylor Swift on her Eras tour.
I just before this, when I was waiting 40 minutes for you to get on, I saw this reel that was a Taylor Swift dance club, and apparently all they do is play Taylor Swift. And it was the most place I would never want to catch myself at.
Yeah, that sounds miserable. There's only so many Taylor Swift songs to go around, so I mean, the DJ has an easy job.
Yeah, you just Taylor Swift Spotify shuffle.
Yeah, Spotify Wrapped came out. We want to talk
Oh,
about how
man.
gay our Spotify Wrapped was.
I don't know. We were having a real gay off because my number one song was Skinny Love. So
What is that song?
Skinny Love and listening.
No.
It's very gay.
My number 2 is Gravity by John Mayer. So
It's up there too. But I know that was the one song that I would listen to calm myself down because I'm a crazy person. So that just tracks about how many times I would turn it on.
that'll happen. That'll happen to the best of us. Helen Keller, is she real or not? TBD on that. We'll circle back to that in a couple episodes, guaranteed. Matt, we have again in the news cycle. I saw another picture of a coal miner attending his daughter's recital or whatever it was, just dirty as hell. Now, we've talked about this before in the past. I believe it was over in Kentucky. There was a gentleman there who just got off his coal mining shift, his 3-day coal mining shift, whatever it is, went straight to the basketball game or whatever, and was just covered in soot. I saw another one, and this coal miner pretty much straight up had black face. And we've talked about it before. For those of you new listeners out there, thank you so much for joining us. All of our loyal listeners, thank you for being with us again. But this whole coal miner thing is it's getting out of hand. It's ridiculous. The whole point being is you can't take 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes to go to the bathroom and maybe just, I don't know, run a paper towel over your face or something like that. I mean, why are you going straight from the coal mine straight into public with just blackface and a bunch of soot on your face?
It's there's a couple things that I don't get are not considered blackface. One of them is being a coal miner and going to a children's basketball game. The other one is bodybuilding. Have you seen how like black they go with tanner when a black person and a white person are the same color? I'm like, how is that not considered blackface?
I don't know what happened. I cannot hear a word you're saying.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
There must be something can be done.
We're a progressive school system. We don't want to see anybody left behind.
Yeah, Mr. Gone podcast.
Mrs. Gone.
Through some technical difficulties here. Getting pretty frustrating.
He's on vacation.
Paying for a lot to make this happen. The money doesn't go too far. Can't hear God anything Matt's saying. I don't know if Matt can hear me. I don't know if you listeners can hear me right now. I am just talking.
Your mama sure does care about your schooling, son.
And Matt's audio on my end just kind of cut out with no real rhyme or reason.
I've been playing the Forrest Gump clip this whole time.
Terrific. Well, I guess I can hear you now. I just changed up my speakers, so sorry about that to our listeners. Been a little bit of growing pains as we have separated across the country. What were you saying about the coal miner thing, if you don't mind just reiterating quick for me?
Oh, that it's the only time that apparently blackface is acceptable when you're a coal miner attending your kid's basketball game. And the other one's really weird to me. It's like bodybuilders, because it'll be a white guy and a black guy, but they'll be the same like shade of skin tone, but it's not blackface when you do it for bodybuilding.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it should just come back. It should just be accepted.
I don't think that's good at all.
Why not?
I mean, I think it pretty much ended after Tropic Thunder was like the last, like, oh, we're gonna do this.
I mean, women can cake on makeup all they want and nobody bats an eye. So, if you want to go out in blackface, just do it. What if you identify as black?
I mean,
Michael
you could
Jackson
try.
did it. He went from black to white and nobody batted an eye. Michael Jackson is still celebrated to this day when, he was just putting his fingers and other tentacles from his body into places they should not be. He is celebrated. They still make documentaries. We went to school with some people who are devout Catholics who just love Michael Jackson. So I don't really see any issue with that.
Yeah, moving on.
All right, we got our sports section of the podcast before we wrap it up. Like I said last week, we are in December, so we're really getting into the meat of the football seasons, both college football and basketball football. So we'll start with college football, as the college football playoff was announced. Matt mentioned it at the beginning of the show. And his beloved Notre Dame Fighting Irish got left out, and boy, have they been throwing a hissy fit ever since. Thoughts first on Notre Dame not making it?
I think the committee is dumb. Like, so Notre Dame has been ahead of Miami for the last 5 weeks since the committee has been doing these rankings. And albeit I was just going to be like Notre Dame getting in over Miami, they were going to say the head-to-head thing, and I was going to be like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's true. Notre Dame probably shouldn't have gotten in over Miami. But Alabama getting in with 3 losses, first 3-loss team to ever get in, and they lost to Florida State, who was objectively terrible. And I remember one of the committee members was saying, hey, they lost to Florida State week 1 of the year. We shouldn't go with the first couple of weeks are kind of growing pains. People are like, okay, so if that's the case, then Notre Dame is 10-0. And I argue that Alabama should have been like the 16th best team in the country. I think that Notre Dame, BYU, Vanderbilt, and Miami should have all gotten in over Alabama. I hope they lose. I hate them. And I'm probably not going to watch any more college football this year.
Well, my thought is that I would agree that Alabama is better than Notre Dame. Looking at Notre Dame's schedule, they beat number 20 USC and number 22 Pittsburgh. Other than that, they lost their 2 ranked games to start the season, whereas Alabama has like 4 top 25 wins, and their 3rd loss came in the SEC championship game, which the committee said that they weren't going to take those conference championships into consideration, just because I mean ultimately like that's you earn the right to like be in that conference game. Where I'm confused is like I get it that James Madison University won their conference. However, it's James Madison University. They were Division One AA like just a couple of years ago, and they didn't play a single ranked team all year. So like I understand the logic behind having like conference champions make it into the playoff, but I would much rather see a Notre Dame in there instead of James Madison. I think Notre Dame Oregon would be um, a really good matchup. Didn't Notre Dame make it to the national championship last year?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. And then also Tulane made it into the college football playoff for winning their conference. I think college football is just like in a real mess. Just it all started when all these like conferences like started realigning and stuff. Like there's no Pac-10, Pac-12 anymore. Like it just no longer exists. And it actually was a pretty decent conference. Like in its heyday, they had a lot of really good teams. And like if that was what I'm saying is if there was like four major conferences, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and the Pac, whatever it was, they would just cut it off right there. It's like, okay, those four conference champions are going to automatically make it. And then we're going to figure it out from there. But also, you have Duke who beat Virginia to win the ACC title. The ACC is like, I don't
That's
know.
what screwed everyone, because that's how James Madison got in, because the rule is that the 5 highest ranked conference champions get in. And Duke has 5 losses, but somehow they got into the ACC championship game because they played, I think, NC State early in the year, which is an ACC team, but they said that didn't count towards their ACC record. So they somehow got in to the ACC championship over the tiebreaker with Miami.
Yeah, it sounds like college football is just making up rules as they go. But my one thing that I did think of was you got to give the college football playoff credit because that's all anyone has been talking about. So it's been all over talk shows. It's been all over headlines and news stories and clips on the internet. So if that's the case, I mean, they're doing it right by like hyping it up and getting a lot of attention to it. But they're screwing up. Is Condoleezza Rice still on the college football playoff committee?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it was a few years ago when Condoleezza Rice was on the college football playoff committee. That just didn't make any sense to me. And I haven't checked recently who's all on there, but it's like a lot of like athletic directors from like South Carolina and just these like shitty schools. So you know they're going to be biased.
The head of the selection committee was like Arkansas's former athletic director who got fired like because he was so terribly bad at his job. And it's like, yeah, so let's let a guy who couldn't figure it out in the SEC with one of the richest programs in the country, let's let him make all the decisions.
Well, I think it was last year at this time when they showed a clip of the committee watching all the conference championship games, and they were at some hotel conference room or something, and they had like waters and Diet Cokes, and I'm pretty certain that the two hosts of No Brains, No Headache were arguing that they need to be hammered drunk. They need to be slugging down some beers and having some cocktails and having a good time. And then maybe we would put more respect on their name, but that's just not the case.
Look at the picture I just sent you. So they had this setup that was preposterous. It was basically, they were like, hey, we need a setup to watch these games. And they're like, okay, cool. And they basically went to Walmart, bought 3 Vizio TVs, put them on an old conference table, and that's how they watched it.
And it looks like it's all the same game.
Yeah. And it's very clearly they moved the table out of the middle of the room and put it more towards there. Like my basement has a better setup to watch basketball or football than this place did.
Well, they call it Selection Central, and all of this is show. It just looks like a really rich college kid's college house with him and his buddies. Like, where's the bong on the coffee table with like 20 empty beer cans and like an ashtray and stuff? Like, I need that, and then I'll like. I think if they had that, people would like respect their opinion some more. But yeah, Matt, you're correct. There's just 3 TVs on a random conference table. It looks like they're just watching the Georgia Alabama game, I want to say. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but my whole point is like, hey, there's a lot of buzz around it. Everyone's been talking about it. So, like, in that sense, they're doing a really good job of it. However, it's frustrating. Like, I'm a Georgia fan, so it's easy for me. Georgia deserves to be there. They earned their right. Like that was a no-brainer. I thought that they were going to leapfrog into the 2 spot. Ultimately, I'm not sure if it matters a whole lot. I also don't like the SEC has 5 teams in there. I don't like that there's the potential of an Ole Miss Georgia rematch. Like I get it. No, like you can't really control anything past the first round. But like, why are we setting up these scenarios where they could have a rematch from earlier in the season? The whole point, and if you look at the bowl games, they try to just take 2 teams that historically never really play each other unless it's a bowl game, and they put them together because it's like cool. It's 2 fan bases who aren't familiar with each other. It's 2 programs who never play with each other. 2 teams who haven't seen each other, and it usually makes for some really good football. But I get it. It's frustrating. I understand your frustrations completely. Um, but it makes so much sense. Like BCS, it was only like 2 or 3 teams, maybe 4. And then what was the 4-team playoff? There was like 4 to 6 teams probably that were considered and only pissed off. Now it's like 20 programs out there are just upset beyond belief. You could argue that Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, Texas, Miami, you could argue Duke could like be upset about it. So like they're getting the attention of a lot of people. However, at some point, like it needs to be figured out and or expanded, or it's just going to get old. It's going to lose its prowess. So I don't have any answers, but I think it was interesting, and it was definitely something that I was keeping a close eye on. So there's that. We'll have to see who pulls away. I still have to do the Forrest Gump challenge. I haven't forgot about it, people. I'm still gonna do it. I haven't figured out when I want to do. I wanted Matt to be there, and before I left town, it was just seemed to never work out.
You had 9 months to do it.
Yeah, I know. I haven't done it, so I haven't forgot. It's going to be glorious whenever I do that. Moving on in sports. Let's see. I hopped on the Carolina Panthers bandwagon. They didn't lose this past weekend. Still in the hunt. They had a bye, so that was huge. Panthers still alive and well. And then we have my beloved Minnesota Vikings, who are the first team since like the 70s to get shut out one week and then the very next week shut out their opponent. Shutouts, very rare in the football landscape. But Vikings win 31-0 against the Commanders. And when they show the playoff picture graphic, the Vikings are still there at the very end in the hunt. And it's just so funny how delusional of sports fans can be. Last week I was very down. I wasn't even into the game. I was watching it, but I really couldn't get it. I think the biggest celebration I had was when Andrew Van Ginkel, 2 in the pink, 1 in the gink, as I call him, intercepted it off the edge, almost took it to the house like he's been known to do. That was my most exciting part of the game. However, the Vikings are still in it. And I was talking about this with another Vikings fan of, wouldn't you rather see some momentum going into next season A few years ago, the Lions did this when they upset the Packers in the last game of the season, last game that Aaron Rodgers played for them. The Lions had a bunch of momentum at the end of the season going into the next, and then they really started playing well. Your Panthers did this, I believe, last year, where they rattled off several wins towards the end of the season. So, as of this moment, it's not over until the fat lady sings, and I haven't heard any fat women singing yet. So the Vikings are still in the playoff race, so I'm still going to keep rooting for them. They need to win out, and multiple teams need to lose out. 4 weeks left in the season. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But until they say that, nope, it is mathematically impossible for the Vikings to make the playoffs, I'm still going to keep rooting for them. That's why I'm wearing Skull up top. But who's not going to win a championship this year is the NDSU Bison. After losing 29-28 to Illinois State at home. God, that made me feel good. I don't know why. I do know why, but
as maybe the number one Bison hater in the state that isn't a massive UND fan, I found myself at the local watering hole having lunch while they played. And it'll be nice to have my lunch spot back because it gets infested by these mouth breathing NDSU fans every Saturday. Where when I cheer for the other team, I'm ridiculed. But if they fucking take their pants off and throw them outside because NDSU kicked a field goal, I'm just tired of it. I'm so glad they lost. I could not care less who wins now. But
Tarleton State.
honestly, it's like Montana State, but it's like even if Montana or Montana State wins, I know there's going to be a lot of North Dakotans who are going to be like, yeah, Montana, North Dakota, they run the FCS. It's like, honestly, kill yourself.
It's one of those games where I was like, why didn't I bet on Illinois State? And then I remembered that I'm on gambling lock right now. So
I did bet on Illinois State.
what was the payout or odds?
I got them like, I bet them like plus 28.5. So like by the third quarter, I knew that they were going to cover.
Take the points.
Yeah.
You should never be a 28.5 point favorite in a playoff game in college.
You should see what the line is for Tulane and whoever they're playing.
Ole Miss. I don't know. I saw that the Colts against the Seahawks this next week is plus 850 money line. Plus 850? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I just stopped betting on the NFL. It doesn't interest me as much as college, and it's so much more volatile. College is way more like actually you can predict. Also, the name of the bowl games. Next week we'll go over the names of the bowl games because it is every single one of them is sponsored. So if you want to watch Eastern Illinois play Arkansas State in the Xbox Bowl, you certainly can.
Yeah, a lot of teams opted out too. But final note on the sports, I did, Matt. I had the rare weekend where I had the clean sweep. Both of my fantasy football teams won and the Vikings won. So 3-0. The Jahungas in the Dope Bowl have made the playoffs at 7-7. Started 3-0, got a little too hot too early. You got to watch out for that. The Jahungas are in the playoffs starting this next weekend, thanks to Saquon. I needed like 8 points from him going into last night's game, and then he was dicking around. He was only at like 60 some yards at half, well into the third quarter, and then he ripped off the fake tush push, pitched back 52-yard touchdown. So that really sealed it for me. So the Jahungas are back in the playoffs. It's good to see. And then I got a real meat grinder in the Weichel Bowl. There's 3 teams vying for 2 spots, so things are going to get ugly. It could be pretty awkward Christmas when I yell absurdities at my family members. So really excited about that. So stay tuned on that. We'll have a follow-up next week. Hopefully I'm still alive. The dope bowl's huge. I mean, the winner wins $1,000. So I could use that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think one of the playoffs that I made, that one is like 1,200, and then I think the other one is 1,800. But I am the 8 seed limping into the playoffs, going against my brother, who I traded everyone on my team for to get Jamar Chase, who then has just sucked, and then everyone I traded him has just been dominant, and his team has won like 9 in a row since that trade. So not looking good for me. Yeah, but
Well,
I got
that's all
things
we
to
got
do.
for episode 276. Matt, how can everybody get more involved?
Yeah, just follow us on social media, and then if you want to watch the show, you can subscribe on YouTube and leave us a rating or review, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hell yeah, thank you for listening. Up next, we have episode 277.
You're watching Channel 4 News with 5-time Emmy Award-winning anchor Ron Burgundy and Tits McGee.
Good evening, San Diego. I'm Veronica Corningstone. Tits McGee is on vacation.
And I'm Ron Burgundy.